So we'll move into the winners bracket since this is GSL style, and we'll do Multi versus Fig next. Obviously, Molten has looked good in these games, although I wasn't really convinced by his proxy hatch hold. But Fig is a really big kind of overmatch for him. Going to definitely be one of the tougher ones as we move into Royal Blood. Down in the purple, playing for Team Goldmasters, Multi. In the top right, in the blue, playing for TSI. This is the battle to decide who really is the worst team name in the UK. Is Figaro. And Multi's been a bit sneaky, which I kind of expected. I think Molten knows, as well as anyone, that a straight up match against someone who's kind of got you covered quite as hard as Fig does is not really the way to play it. So it does look like it's going to be a flower. Could be proxy 4-gate, which the win rate of is insane. It's a very good build. Or could be 2-gate and Forge, or some variation thereof. We will see. Not really sure what Molten plays on Lala. 1-gate, 2-gate, Forge. There you go. Okay, I'm sorry. Molten says that he is a good macro player. Okay, buddy. I believe you. So Fig is getting a slightly quicker gas and pool, which is not what Molten wanted to see. Getting read by a book a little bit here. Let's see if he still goes for the cannon rush. Could be kind of a bad idea, since the person you're playing against is going to have really quick lings and is going to see the cannon rush straight away. But the kind of point of this opener is not to win with the cannons, it's to win with the zealots that are going to come out. You can actually even make a cyber core and get gas with this. If there's one gateway, we're going to see another one for the full wall. Okay, it's not a full wall. Cannon. Okay, not loving this. So Fig's going to pull workers and is going to get some surface area on the cannon, but with the zealots out, is this a good fight? I really don't think it's great for Fig. These cannons are going to get up. Losing a lot of workers this early for Fig is really not what he wanted. I think he shouldn't have pulled workers. I think he should have ran the lings across the map. And I think he should have taken more gases and just gone for the Ravager bust out, basically. I think he didn't really realise how all-in Multi was with this until the Zealot showed up. But there we go, hindsight. So now we have a Cyber coming through. We need to start mining gas so that we can actually use it. And start making Stalkers instead of bad units. Multi is going to stack the probe and it's going to see that it's roaches coming. I think you need more gas for Ravagers if you're Fig, but he is going to go with the higher roach number instead, which I think is fine. Oh, it's only 3 roaches, so maybe fast Ravs instead. Still an option. Multi is still going to be pumping Zealots, even though he can now build Stalkers. And can proxy a shield battery. Okay, he's making a defensive battery. Interesting. Not really sure we need this, because Fig really has nothing. First Ravagers are coming through now, which is a good plan. Very nice for busting these cannons of pylons down. And I wonder if Molten is thinking that this is held. It does seem that way, because he's getting the Robo back home, not committing to the proxy any harder. I think as soon as the bios start going down on these cannons, one more round of bios and this kind of little outpost that Molten has is not long for the world. Let's see if Fig is going to bust these as well. It doesn't really look like Molten is too attached to them. It would be nice, I think, for Molten to try and get a faster Nexus down, but instead he's playing really defensive with the battery and cannons back home. Unfortunately, not a fan of this, because we already saw that he can just bio down the cannons, so Fig will just come across and continue to bio down the cannons. Molten's going to have to kind of rely on the Zealots to defend. So now Fig should grab this base. I would be surprised if he didn't kind of try and macro as hard as he could and maybe get a third quite quick at this. because you really just need no aggro units, since you know your opponent is kind of mucking out of it. Quick Immortal for Molten, but he spent so much like defending. Not sure I love it. There was a lot of advantage that that the proxy gave you, and I don't think we've really like benefited from it a huge amount. That said, I think he's worried that if he really tries to push his lead, he's just going to die to the Ravagers that come across, but not so in this game. So Fig massively oversaturated, which is completely fine because he's just waiting for his natural to finish, and he's already got really good vision. So with the in control announcer, he already knows that this base hasn't been taken for quite a while, and he's going to scout it again now, and it still hasn't been taken. So I think he's feeling pretty okay in this spot. It was a pretty good hold, but he obviously had quite a good opener. Did really good job kind of blind countering Molten a little bit, going for the fast pull, fast gas. He's going to shut down these gateways that are on his side of the map, which just sort of puts your mind at ease a little bit. They're not going to get like really fast DTs or anything in your base. Morty's coming in for the scout. It's just going to see that he's massively behind in workers, which is probably not the news that he wanted. And we'll see what Fig has planned for the rest of the game. I think Morty's in a bit of trouble. Would be, I think, ideal to go for 2 Immortals and then the Warp Prism. But we'll see. Fig's really suspicious now, so going to check all of his bases. He obviously feels like he's pretty far ahead, so he's just going to scout anywhere and everywhere. 2 Lings moving on either side of the map. Probably going to leave this one by the 3rd to make sure that Morton's not pulling a fast one, which does look like he wants to do. Not sure that's legal. Are these really walled in? Where are they walled in? No. Yes, they are. Fantastic. Okay, I guess we're killing the Cyber Core. Classic. Well, it's fine because we didn't have warp gate anyway. So we are now having to build more gateways, and we are going to have to replace the Cyber Core, which is a bit cringe. Not sure how this game goes on as long as it does. It does look like Multi's in a bit of trouble. But I think when you play this opener, when you play this opener, the Zerg obviously feels a little bit kind of on the back foot, and then you're kind of feeling okay for the, you know, for the rest of the game. You're like, well, you know, I'm doing okay now. I got my 3 bases fully saturated, so let's just try not to die to anything dumb. So I think that's sort of Fig's MO for the next 5 minutes of the game. Grabbing his 4th. Should be grabbing Overseer. Just be really safe because Molten loves DTs. Can go for another big scout, though he's seen pretty well everything. TC coming down now. If I had to guess, I mean, I guess charge, but I'm not sure that's good against someone that's got Bane Nest and Roaches coming. Just not sure we have a whole lot of play left in this game since we're down literally half the supply of the opponent. Absolutely not stonks. Bunch of Banelings coming through, which Molten is seeing with the obs, but he's kind of powerless to do anything about it, so I guess we see it and then keep probing. There's actually an Overlord here the entire time, just scanning everything, but we haven't got anything that shoots up, obviously. It's going to be Templar Archives, I guess, for Archons and Charge. So, yeah, I don't hate it. I think it's fine, but it would have been better if we weren't at a, you know, massive disadvantage for the entire game. Doing another huge round of drones. Ugh. I'm yawning because I'm not sure this one isn't Jova. Just to really fully saturate, well, I guess now oversaturate our 4 bases. I think Fig can kind of do whatever he likes, but instead he's gonna go up to 70 drones, max out on Roach Rav, Baneling, go away move. We'll see if Multi has anything to hold it. Maybe more batteries, good unit. Maybe Storm, okay, maybe. Not sure it's going to be done in time for the attack, but I'm not sure I hate it. I think I prefer the Archons. Good save on that one, but these cannons are going to push the Overseer towards our researching storm, so he is going to know what's coming. Yep. There we go. And I guess he saw the Twilight Council as well, so he really knows everything that we're up to in this one. Not going to get a sneaky one at all. Army is just getting bigger and bigger. Do we even have any Lings left? No, they're all Banelings now. So going up to like 50 Banes. Just going to try and bust through. Baneling good unit. Are we going to have Storm in time is the question. Or are our High Templar going to get right-clicked? Let's see. Storm is 5 seconds away, and we have no Templar. It was a good try. It was a good try. There we go. That's going to end this one. Well played, Figaro. Puts him up 0-1 in this series. Gonna hop over into game number 2. Let's see if Multi has a different plan. Maybe Nexus Forge. But honestly, it's an uphill battle. I'm not gonna lie. Definitely gonna be a tricky one. No doubt about it. Spawning in the bottom right of Babylon, playing for Goldem and Molten. And up 1-0 in the series so far. Playing in the blue for TSI is Figaro. So Fig did pretty well last game. I think most of it came down to him kind of being really prepared and not playing super standard. You know, no 16 hatch, 18 gas, 17 pool, but he did instead pool, gas, hatch, which put him in a decent spot to hold the early rush. I think he flubbed it a little bit. I'm not sure if he'd like made the best decision making in the world, but I'm not sure Multi kind of has played that a huge amount, so I'm not sure he's sort of super duper clued up on how to play the old wait, we did it. The old Proxy 2 Gate Forge. This game's going to be the opposite, but we are still getting a cannon rush out of Molten. It's going to be Forge, I guess Forge Gate Nexus. Not sure Multi is a complete cannon rusher. He's not a sated. Let's see. Figaro leaving the Overlord here is going to scout it. Does Molten know that the pylon position on this map, or does he not? We'll see. Not going to get a block off on the spawning pool, which he really doesn't need to do. It's just annoying. Instead, choosing not to cannon rush at all, we're just going to get the Nexus. Guess we could go for it now. No? Let's see. Let's see. What have you got planned? What's he cooking? Is he cooking? Yeah, this is a fake now. There's no way you can actually go for it. Still going to force a little bit of a drone pull. Just be a bit annoying. That is the 3 pylon wall, so he is actually going for it. He's going to get the cannon down. Okay, he's cooking. With the pool finishing up, I think we can grab a spine and some lings, maybe? But it doesn't look like it. There's the spine. And another one. Let's see how good Fig's cannon rush defense is. Not sure I've seen it a huge amount. We are just going for a lot of spines here. And I guess these cannons can harass this, but can't harass this. So, good choice for Figaro. Meanwhile, he's sort of scouted everything, which is why I think he thought it wouldn't be a real cannon rush. So Molten's in a pretty good spot overall. This is a lot of investment. Oh, I actually can hit this. Crazy. There's a lot of investment for just killing a hatch. I think I'd be happier if he cancelled this left cannon. But this is looking pretty good for Multi. Not bad at all. Sated Junior on the scene. There is only 2 pylons powering this. Multi's just right-clicking the hatch, and I think he's going to get it. In fact, I'm sure he's going to get it. Which is not good for Fig. And Fig's like made a lot of lings as well. Needs to right-click this pylon, please. Yeah. Losing the queen? Jesus. I mean, all of these are now going to get depowered, which is why I said cancel this one, because you don't need it. But losing the hatch... Big loss for Fig, so he's down like double? Crazy. I mean, after all of these cannons are going to get picked off, I think obviously that's going to look a little bit different. And this was a big investment for Molten, but Molten have got his Nexus down nice and fast behind this. Quick cannon. Go Stargate already going in the... Oh yeah, here. Shield battery coming up. Yeah, he's really safe against any kind of... any plan Fig has. So Fig is going to have to double expand. Moving this up to the high ground just so it doesn't die from the lack of creep. Injecting. I'm not sure there's much play left in this game for Fig. Let's see. Let's see if Multi can still throw it. I have faith. Let's see, let's see. This has been really nicely played so far. Very, very annoying, very irritating. For our friend Molten. So Fig's is finishing up now, while the Adept moves across. Fig does have Ling speed, but obviously lost all of the Lings earlier. So he's going to have to reinvest just to hold this Adept, which is otherwise going to be really annoying. See if he can get a bunch of drone kills like we did against Bobicus. Would be great to see. I'm not sure Multi can actually commit to this shade, but maybe he thinks otherwise. No. Just with the queens here and the drone pole is not gonna have a lot of play in it for this wee Adept. Do have a Oracle getting chronoed out, which I like a lot. Void Ray is done and clearing up Overlords. So the losses are getting even bigger for Fig. I think Molten's put himself in a really good spot in this game. I think there's a lot of play in it for him. See if he can capitalise at all. Fig, on the other hand, is just going to be stuck to droning for a little bit. He's going to make a few Lings. Just for scouting, just for keeping Molten a little bit honest. So we'll see how that one sort of pans out. Let's see. Yeah, Molten's really safe against this. Keeping the Adepts at home. Sell it in the wall and the cannon there, so these Lings are a bit moot. Quick. Roach Warren on the way for Fig. It's going to be the choice of tech this game. Would be keen to see him grab a nice fast lair if he can afford it. He is on his like 3 bases now, but I guess so is Molten, so he's not in a not in a great spot. Heading into the 6th minute of this game. Let's see. He has gotten away with droning up quite hard, if we're being honest. But he's still behind Molten actually. I guess Molten's going harder. Twilight Council, wonder if he'll go for Storm again. Wasn't a big fan of it in the first game. We do have a Robo though. We don't have an Observer, but we don't need it because the Oracles are continuing to revelate everything, scout everything's coming out. And at the moment they're just seeing drones pop. Gonna be +1, and I would guess Quick Lair, then Roach Warren. Let's see. Yeah, there's the Lair coming out. A few more Lings just for safety, I guess. We're pretty well saturated across our bases now. We need to grab these gases. Grab a 4th. If we can at all. It's a fake cannon rush with real cannons. This is true. It's the real cannons that get you. It is going to be Templar Archives again, which is ironic because I thought Molten always made DTs, but I guess he can't because it's already spores out. Wonder if it's going to be Storm this game or just Archons. Looking like Archons. Looking like it's going to go for a charge. Charge Zealot, Archon, Immortal Push. Should be really good against the comp that Fig has chosen, which is going to be like basically Ling Roach. It's going to get into Banes, which I think is a good choice. It's a scary number of Adepts. Honestly, I think Molten's in a really, really won position already. The Archons coming through. We're going to Chrono at +1. Chrono out the charge and get some A moving going. I would like to see a Warp Prism just for pick up micro and reinforcements, but let's see. On the other side, Big reusing the spine from earlier. Getting everything revelated again and losing a few workers to the Oracles is very nice for Molten. Gonna need his Roach speed, I would have thought. Yeah, starting now, which is really late. It is gonna be Storm. Don't love it. Because Molten's going for a 4th. Really think Molten could benefit a lot from just making a bunch of units and going for it. I don't play Protoss, so I may be wrong. I think it is going to let Fig into this game a little bit more. You know, his fourth is done, so he's going to drone this. His roach speed was late, his bane speed was late, but he's not getting punished for it at all. It's a pretty small army from Molten, truthfully. But I think, you know, a few more warp-in rounds with a bunch of zealots, and then turn all of these High Templar into Archons, and it's a really scary force. On the other side, Fig is actually playing aggro, which I don't think he has any license to do. I'm not sure this is allowed. Especially without roach speed, I'm not sure many roaches are going to get away from this. Just trading for zealots at the moment, I guess, is fine. Storm coming up, finishing now, so yeah, this push truly is dead. DOA, not going to get anything more done. Quick Spire out of Fig, which I don't hate, though he does have Multi does have a Stargate, of course, so he can make Phoenix. With these Oracles, I guess they've started to slack on scouting duty, so they're not going to see it. Was a small Baneling run by, but there's not many workers here to actually kill. Still pushing at the front. I just don't think this army is that scary from Fig. The Banelings do go on the Archon. Would have been much scarier if he got them onto the High Templar, but does not manage to. I think Fig has to go home. You know, I don't think there's much play in it with, you know, he's playing T1 tech against Storm High Templar, nearly +2 Immortals, and charge lots. Let's see if he can hold the counter push from Multi. I'm not all the way sure about it. It's also a big Zealot run by on the top. It is going to kill this base, which is a good pick-off for Molten. Even these Oracles are going to turn back on. We have a Spire that we can't use because we need more defensive roaches. Even getting harassed still by these Oracles. They could even go for the mineral line if they weren't so low on energy. Very annoying for Fig. He's got a bit of a supply lead. You know, he's up 20 army supply. But he has 40 roaches, so that's 80 supply of his army. It's just roach, which are not the best units. He is still playing really aggressive, which is interesting, because I would always play this very, very defensively if I had had such a bad start. But I guess this is the only way to keep the Protoss honest. Big storms on the Banelings, big storms on the roaches, especially into this kind of choke that Molten's made. I'm just not sure there's much play in it for Fig. Just not sure he can get anything done with the units that he's got. More storms. We're really just, you know, denting Archons, taking a long time to kill them. So the Immortals in the backline are just absolutely shredding the roaches. And this one is looking good for Multi. And behind it all, he is not being honest. He is, in fact, got 3 Stargates making carriers. So it does look a bit rough on this one for Figaro. He's just not really got the economy to be agile enough to do anything about the carriers. He's been forced, you know, back into roaches, you know, even after trading aggressively and losing them a lot. You know, he's still, yeah, not in the best spot. You know, still forced into making more roaches, making Ravagers. He's getting Carapace, so maybe he smells something. Did he scout anything here? No idea. But, yeah, not mattering. Another Baneling run by, but there's not that many workers here. I mean, it's good. 10 workers for a few Banes is nice, but, you know, this is the base that is fully saturated. Molten even going to be out-expanding the Zerg now, which is really not the spot you want to be in. Taking the 20 army supply lead for himself. And he actually has good units, because he's a Protoss player, so he's getting into the carriers, which are still unscouted. Would be cool for Fig to grab some Corruptors if he gets the chance, but again, his economy is not really big enough. He's banking a huge amount. I don't really know why. Might as well just spend it on anything at this point, but we'll see. Like, he's not waiting for a tech. He's not, like, waiting for Hive to finish so he can get Broodlords or something. But he's even struggling to harass because there's not even a base here to do anything about. So he's coming back out now, and this army is significantly scarier than the one from earlier. Pushing onto creep and clearing it back. Now Figaro is wishing that he'd spent his 3k bank into Corruptors, I think. Yeah, they're starting to hit the field now. some Banelings on the way. Infestation Pit is probably a little bit too little too late as Molten's getting towards maxed out. So there's going to be another big Zealot run by on the south side to take out some workers and be really annoying over here. As meanwhile, this really scary force kind of circles around. Let's see what multi can get done with this big army. Okay, 16 Corruptors on the way, but it's only 4 carriers. Honestly, the scarier part is the ground army that we managed to not kill earlier. Still a lot of energy on these Templars as well, so this is a lot of storm. This one is it's not looking like it for Figaro. It's not a good little opener from multi, and I think we're going to be heading into game 3 shortly. See if he's got something else cooked up for game number 3, and see if Big falls for it once again. See, so now the Corruptors are going to clear the air army, but then we've got 13 Corruptors, so 26 supplying Corruptors that we can't use. And they're not even going to clear the air army. In real life, Fig is keyboard smashing. He still managed to type GG on his broken keyboard, but I'm not sure he's going to be very happy about that one. Bad luck. Well played from Molten though. Good opener. Very sneaky. Hopping into game 3 to decide it all. This is a longie. Jesus. 18 minutes. I wonder if it opens with cheese again. It's quite often when you open with cheese, everything gets delayed. Zane's going to copy this against AC. Good call, good call. Spawning in the top right in the purple in game number 3. Tied 1-1. In the purple is Molten. In the bottom left, in the blue once again, is Tierside's Figaro. So we're at a weird spot in the series, because Molten has cheesed twice and won one and lost one. So it's whether he goes for a cheese again, whether he plays macro again. It's really an interesting choice. And then it's up to Fig, you know, how he plays this. He could play standard again. He could play, you know, very aggro and try and throw multi off. It's going to be a gateway opening. Though obviously Fig doesn't know, so he's still playing a bit funky. He's joining 17, then gas. So I'm guessing it's going to be pool. Yeah. So this is a 17-16 opening. Could be a few things. Could be Bane Burst. I expect it's going to be Ravagers. Would be my guess. But we will see. We'll see if Molten knows how to spot what it's going to be. Heading now with his Probe Scout. Obviously he knows it's not. There's no hatch here. He is going to fake the Cannon Rush once again. Not going to work because Fig pulled his Overlord away too quick. And just Forge, so it's going to be very fake. Like it, yeah, went Forge first in the game before. Yep. Going to scout everything, see if he can get there in time to block this hatch. It doesn't look like it. So Molten's seen everything. See how he reacts now. Not a big fan of the Nexus before Cybercore. I think you have to go Cybercore Nexus against someone who's played gas first. But whether Multi knows that it's gas first or not, I do not know. Let's see if he has the right read in this one. He's going to keep the probe here, which is a good call because you can see the follow-up. It's a couple lings and ling speed, which is how you open for a roach push. It's pull 2, 1 out of gas, 2 out of gas. So maybe it's just ling speed and he's just trying to freak Molten out a little bit, in which case I think he's gotten away with the Nexus before core quite well. I think Molten must have seen that Big had pulled out of gas a little bit. It's not going to be a Ravager burst, obviously, because he went Queen before Roach Warren. Could still be a Baming burst, and Molten hasn't made a battery, which is a bit greedy. But let's see. I think this was really meant to try and bait out the overreaction, and then he can just play 3 hatch behind it as he is. An interesting opener. It hasn't seemed to work on Molten. He seemed to have gotten away with it. Now with the Stargate, he should be pretty safe. Not a big fan of the Phoenix. Doesn't look like Molten is either. Void Ray is a better call here. Yep. And he can shoo this Overlord away. Get a lot of map vision back. Meanwhile, Figaro is having to drone really hard to make up for this opener. So, an interesting choice. It's going to hide these links now that speed is done. And it does keep Molten's adepts back home, which is a good, good enough. Molten now sees the link speed and knows that he can't really send his adepts into it, so, Molten doesn't get any vision, doesn't get much scouting, but I'm not sure he needs a huge amount. He obviously hasn't seen this base, but he kind of knows what Fig is up to or not up to. I mean, if you were trying to be really safe, you would start shield batteries anyway, just to be like, very safe and secure if Fig was cheesing behind this. But honestly, if Fig was cheesing behind this, it would have hit already. So, not sure. The Adept Shade is going to come out now, and Fig doesn't see it. Be interesting if Molten just takes a fast third behind this, and it does look like he's moving that way with the probe heading out now. Not much Fig can do to stop this, unless he can snipe the... No. So that's going to be a quick third from Molten, slightly delayed to where you'd normally quite like to take it around like 330, 350-ish. But it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Fig, on the other hand, obviously got his third hatch up pretty quick and is droning it really hard. So he has 3 bases of full saturation. So, I don't know, kind of an aggressive opening that got him a bit of an eco lead. Paid off quite quickly. And I think that puts him in a decent spot, because obviously he's quite favoured in this matchup. A bit greedy from Fig, skipping spores there. So he's going to lose 4 workers. Does get quite a lot of damage onto the Oracle though, but I think Molten's okay with 4 workers and keeping the Oracle alive. Revelation, drive-by as he flies off. Let's see if Fig can really parlay this into a more standard game, and maybe one he'd rather play as opposed to game 2, which was obviously a very weird one, bit funky with the cannon rush opening, and game 1, which was kind of a build order win from the start. Molten kind of put himself behind and then died, whereas Fig never really won a lead for himself and kept it, except by holding the first push really well. So now, still droning pretty hard for Fig. Quick lair is done. Would be nice to get Roach Speed underway. Going for a bit of a Roach push, which I don't love because Molten already has the Robo facility and a Stargate, so he can make Void Rays if he needs them. I mean, even the Oracles are not bad about defending against the first few Roaches. For Fig, it's going to be quite a quick 4th, which is not a bad choice out of Fig. Especially since he's, kind of almost overdroned the 3 bases that he is on. Always Templar Archives for Molten. I think he's trying to rehabilitate his image as a DT player. Spamming Templar Archives, getting quick charge, which I don't hate. Would be nice to see him play kind of hero style, just for a bit of a change. Some quick stalkers and blink. Another 4 workers on these oracles is really nice. So it looks like both players are pretty much getting set up however they would like. Fig is getting into Roaches with upgrades on the way, Bane Nest. Multi is getting the Robo Bay, getting his charge out, getting some more oracles and what have you. So they're sort of both getting fairly settled into their sort of macro cycles and the eco that they'd like to sort of take forward in this game. Molten has caught up in workers really well, mostly because Fig's has been absolutely pumping out Roaches. Not sure I love this, because really the Ravager's just going to get focused down by the Oracles. He could be running headfirst into a bunch of Void Rays because he doesn't have a huge amount of vision. He had a few Baneling run-bys, or Zergling run-bys. I mean, he is running straight into Immortals. It's going to be a fast 4th for Multi. Feels greedy because Fig is going for a big attack, but like I said, there's not really much that shoots up for the Zerg. He does have +1 and he does have Roach Speed, no Bane Speed for this attack. We'll see. I think if Molten can fight near a battery overcharge, he's probably okay, but short of that, he might be in a bit of trouble. Though there's a half-life on this push because of the air units. We'll see. Okay. A bit of a late call on these Archons, so this Immortal is going to get picked off pretty quick. I think Multi holds this pretty well, honestly. Yeah. With the overcharge on this battery down here and the 2 Immortals, this gets shoved back. And like I said, these Oracles are going to town just clearing up a lot of the roaches. I mean, obviously, oracles against roaches are pretty bad, but there's nothing contesting the oracles, so you're sort of free to do this. Figaro, on the other hand, is taking his fourth, and obviously did put a bit of a dampener on Molten's plan for his own fourth. But I'm not sure Molten feels too bad about this sort of occurrence at all. Yeah, he's sort of down. Yeah, twice the resources lost on. Fig lost a lot of gas in that push, just by getting his Ravagers sniped. He's going for it again, which I'm not the biggest fan of, truthfully. It's another big push with the Rav Roach Bane. Does Molten have Storm? That's the question. Yeah, he does now. So this is going to be a bit of a painful one. He's getting really fast into carriers, and I think he's completely allowed to do that because his eco has been really strong. Let's see if these Banelings can get some connections onto the High Templar, but it doesn't look like it. Meanwhile, the fourth is going to get sniped by Big, which I think is completely okay for Multi, so long as he doesn't just die here. Another rough catch on an Immortal. Do we have Overcharge? No energy on it, maybe for Overcharge, but I'm not sure we need it with these Immortals now. Losing a lot more tech units that time, and Fig, you know, took the better of the trades, definitely. So he went from sort of 1k lost for Molten to 3k for Fig to kind of 4k versus 5k, so definite improvements for Figaro. And he's going to keep streaming units for Cross. Multi is going to get into the Flux Veins Void Rays instead of carriers, which is interesting. Maybe he just thinks carriers take too long to build, especially if the opponent is just making a lot of Roach Rav. As meanwhile, Figaro is really starting to take over the map. It'd be nice for him to get another base, as he's droning this one up to 80 workers. I'm not sure these Banelings are going to get to finish with any luck. But meanwhile, Fig is getting to harass this gateway wall for free. Ah, a few got off. Getting into Lurker Tech, which I like a fair amount. It's a bit unfortunate because Molten's really making a lot of Void Rays. And a lot of Void Rays and then eventually carriers, I would guess. Vipers coming through, I think, are okay, but I think they're better if the opponent is playing Disruptor, and Molten just has none. Just straight Immortal, not even many Archons. Maybe they're good against the High Templar, but again, there's only two. They're fine against Void Rays with the Parasitic Bomb, but really not what you want. Molten now sees the Lurkers. This is going to be a little bit scary, I'm sure. Though with enough Immortals, they're not too bad. 4 is not enough. However, these are obviously not fully upgraded, so they're only halfway through one upgrade now. You need both to be really viable with these units. Look how slow they burrow without. But I think Fig's got himself into a pretty good position now. I wasn't so sure earlier, but he took some good trades with his army, his kind of lower tech army, trading for a lot of the tech units from Molten. And now has sort of parlayed himself into a better spot with the higher tech now. Hive done, Crackling upgrade coming. Hydras and Lurkers coming. Starting to siege over on the right hand side now. Multi's going to pop the battery overcharge quite quick. Fortunately, this Lurker's getting harassed by the cannon. For Fig. He does look like he's going to have to go home, and I think that's the right choice. I'm really worried we're just going to eat a load of storms, and then this army gets quite a lot smaller, quite a lot quicker. We're not on the biggest economy. We could go slightly higher, but 80 workers is probably okay, honestly, for the sort of stage we're at. The first carriers are starting to come out now, and we don't have a Spire against it. So the Spire has just started. A few Infestors, a few Hydras with the Vipers is, you know, an okay answer to the carriers. Free Queen is nice. Really, Fig is doing a really good job of just like lurking around and making sure Molten doesn't get a free fifth. Does get this fourth down, which is obviously good, and he can still like pump these carriers quite well. We'll see where this goes from Fig. I really think Fig should have gotten into the Spire quite a lot quickly. I think it was getting more obvious when there were a lot more Void Rays than you'd expect out. Free Warp Prism, you never say no to. So we'll see where Fig goes. He is starting to bank up, which he did in the previous game, but in the previous game he wasn't maxed. In this game he's maxed on 80 workers. Already kind of ready for the Zealot Revives. Yeah, not going to get a huge amount done there. Let's see if it can get anything with this push. Molten, not sure you want to be A-moving like that, especially this deep on creep. Not sure that's the play. I think Fig needs to start trading now. Lose a lot of these roaches and go instead for corruptors or something. He's gonna get abducts. Does he have enough hydras to actually kill that, or is he just gonna eat storms? Eat storms is the option we're picking, not the cleanest control at all. Yeah, this is really why you need the corruptors. Doesn't even lose this carrier on 23 HP. A really big trade for Molten, but like I said, he's gonna switch instead into 22 corruptors, +1 defense. Another Warp Prism has been made, which is a good choice. And we do have a Dark Shrine coming in as well, which is going to be really helpful for this kind of late game harassment. Let's see what Fig can get done. Unfortunately, a lot of the Hydras died in that previous fight, and we kept a lot of the Roaches, which is not sort of the way around that you prefer it. I do think this is going to get caught by the Corruptors. I think, yeah, Fig saw it, so it's going to get completely one-shot. Just the ones that are getting out. Few Zealots over on this side are going to run into Spines, which is good for Figaro. This is a pretty scary Protoss army, though. It's pretty much exactly what you want against the comp that Fig has. Just Void Ray, Void Ray, Carrier, High Templar, and Immortal. This is not one of Fig's more important bases, though I do think he needs more because he's starting to get out expanded by Molten. Losing that quite quickly for free. Losing these Roaches is really good, and I really think he should have done this quite a lot earlier. Unfortunately, he's not going to lose them, which is not what he wanted at all. Instead, they're just going to get stasis, so he still can't use the supply. Lurking with these Corruptors and Vipers is a good choice, unless they get feedback. Okay, does pull them back in time. Which is good for Fig. Let's see. See, Molten is going to have to clear up these Roaches, which is exactly what Fig wants, honestly, really. Fig needs way more Overseers. He's going instead into a lot of Corruptors. I think he needs Corruptors, I think he needs Broodlords. I just think Molten's ground army is still pretty scary, and this is still a lot of Void Rays. We're now going for the fight, and Molten gets on top of the Lurkers really quickly. Big Parasitic Bombs, and Molten drags the Parasitic Bomb back into the rest of his army, but this Battery Overcharge should see these units pretty well okay quite quick. So many Stasis Wards. 6 total all over the map. Very scary for Fig to push into. He's getting more Hydras and more Lings. I think this is going to be for Lurkers. He's going for the Great Spire now, which I think he needs for Broodlords, like I said. And the second Spire, which I think we could have afforded a little while ago, honestly. Would be surprised if he could hold against this big push from Molten. It does look as though he's going to get the space cancelled once again. Honestly, okay, we have a few spores. Yeah, 12 across the map. I think a big Spore Forest is exactly what you need against this. These DTs are going to be a nuisance, especially since we have no detection over on this space. Okay, good pull coming out. The feedback was really good. Yeah, not loving this trade for Fig. Losing a lot of Vipers and what have you for not much gain. With the Lurkers completely left alone, Molten is going to be able to push through here pretty easily. Fig really has to dodge the storms now from the High Templar. Though the Corruptors are really getting on top of the Carriers, which is what the Void Rays are meant to stop. This was really okay for Figaro. Mostly just because Molten was kind of caught with his Void Rays out of position, I think. The ground army is standing pretty strong. So I would like now for Molten to just switch completely into mass ground. Like just a bunch of Archons or Stalkers or something. Because at the moment we're going to have a bunch of Corruptors that are completely dead weight. We can still carry on pushing, honestly, with with a decent ground army. Let's see if these are all going to get morphed. Would be my preference. Yeah, maybe it's too soon. Molten's actually, kind of suffering on the supply front. I think he has a lot of workers, but can't really use them effectively. Obviously, his main is mined out, natural mined out, third mining out. So he has a lot of workers, but they're not doing a whole lot. A new base would be really appreciated for Multi. Fig's control in that fight was pretty good, truthfully. Maybe it was too much Sky Toss and not enough Archons on the ground. Since Fig managed to dodge the Storms pretty well, managed to control it without the Vipers, and do okay in that fight. But now Fig has really gotten back into the ground army with a lot of Lurkers. 14 Lurkers on the map is insane. And he's really going to be able to get on top of these bases quite quickly. Let's see if Molten can weather the storm now. Nah, it's so many Lurkers. Even with big storms, yeah, he's going to lose all the High Templar, lose all the Archons. Fig has played this really well, in my opinion. It's quite hard to control these like really big late game armies, and Molten looked in a pretty good spot. You know, the 3+3 carriers. Yeah, well played, Fig. Decent game. I'm not sure it was the wisest decision for Molten to try and play late game like that, truthfully. It's you know, I'm not saying he's bad at late game, obviously, but it's a tricky one against someone that's, you know, such a big overmatch as Fig is. So now we're going to do the loser bracket, which of course is Wise Man against Bobica. So this is a Red Dragon team kill. Briefly, I'm going to grab a drink of water. My voice is starting to go. Some good games so far, though. Enjoying that. Was close, was close. I think Molten's looking okay to kind of take the series, especially if he's going to, you know, play a little bit cheesy against Wiseman, who's a little bit cheesy himself. Obviously, Molten is favoured in that match, and can kind of, yeah, hopefully, well, I don't know, depends who you're rooting for. If you're Wiseman, hopefully you can beat Molten up, but if you're Molten, of course, you're hoping to get the dub there.